Hei alle. I dag det onsdag den 25. March. Today is Wednesday, the 25th of March, and I thought I'd like to give us all a little peek into my somewhat frightening mental process. Seeing as we are an unprecedented attack on personal liberty in an attempt to control this virus. I'll talk about the virus perhaps in a bit, but right now I want to talk about our current situation as it pertains to China and what we faced in the past with totalitarian regimes and how we overcame them. There seems to be some solid evidence, of course, that the virus originated, its release originated in China, and it's associated with a city that we all know well by now, by the name of Wuhan, where a level 4 biopathogen laboratory is located. Why no one is talking about the biolab is beyond me, especially given the fact that a team of Chinese scientists were arrested in Winnipeg at our level 4 lab there, who were traveling back and forth from Winnipeg to Wuhan. And we've still not found out why they were arrested, other than to be told they were handling biological material carelessly. But again, I digress. It's not what I wanted to discuss. What I do want to discuss is the inherent threat that communist China poses to the Western world. When we were heading into the Second World War, Chamberlain and others, Ford in the US, was stupid enough to sell Hitler equipment to help him build his war machine. Yet, they owed us money. The Germans owed the West money. We weren't beholden to Germany. Neither was Germany manufacturing all the products that we needed at that time. However, currently, China is holding vast amounts of our national debts and manufactures huge amounts, the lion's share, of products that we're buying. I've mentioned before that I was in China in 2009. I was with the mayor of St. Catharines at that time, Brian McMillan, and some other businessmen who were looking at creating business synergy with a firm in Dayang, which is where the earthquake hit several years ago. And so we got to travel extensively over China. We flew out from Shanghai to Chengdu and then drove north to Dayang, where I got to tour their factories there and were wined and dined undoubtedly by people who are members of the triads as well as the communist elite. Met the vice mayor of Dayang, and there was an official party hosted by the Communist Party of China and broadcast on Chinese television. And then we flew out from Chengdu again to Hefei, heading east, where we visited the Communist Party's economic development headquarters in Hefei. We were among the first round eyes to get into that place. I suppose they granted us this because Brian was with us, nonetheless. And then we went from there to Wuxi on the coast, north of Shanghai, and then headed back to Shanghai. Their factories were abominable. They have no health and safety protocol. One factory, I think, of all the factories I visited, which in this particular plant was manufacturing generators, seemed to have um, proper ISO protocol and had job instructions, workbenches at the right height, and their workers were working in proper conditions to produce a quality product. But that was the only one I saw. I saw other things that were just abominable. They're primitive in how they manufacture. And I saw fake everything, and bought some of it, as a matter of fact. Of course, the watches didn't last long, but that's another story. The upshot is that they came to visit us in Canada. They weren't about to get into bed with us. I was to have helped them with quality procedures at some of their plants out in Deyang. And when we entered into negotiation with our lawyers, we were told that I had to leave the meeting because they weren't about to do business with someone who wanted them to do things better. China is holding vast amounts of our debt. They can't be trusted as far as they could be thrown. There isn't a patent that's safe among them. And we're seeing after this incident with the virus that governments all throughout the Western world are engaging in unprecedented attacks on constitutional law and personal liberty. We at least had a chance. We had, of course, Sir Winston Churchill warning us about Hitler and what he was about to do, even though everyone else, most of them, were ignoring what Churchill was warning and didn't actually believe him until Hitler finally invaded Poland. I don't know what we would need to do to extract ourselves from our relationship with China, because we're so dependent and beholden to the People's Republic of China for our supply chain and to hold our money. And I want to remind you, there's only one way a communist regime can make money. That is by using free markets and economic liberty to fund their totalitarian attack on those very things. Only the Western world could possibly be naive enough and stupid enough and gullible enough to get into bed with people whose sworn duty is to destroy the liberal, free, democratic West, which features economic liberty. And only our idiots in government could possibly be stupid enough to continue to pander to this autocratic, authoritarian, illiberal, undemocratic Chinese rule. Our liberties right now are under an unprecedented attack. I don't know how we're going to extricate ourselves from our relationship with that totalitarian nation, but we better figure out how. Otherwise, when we were kids, I grew up 15 miles from the power stations near Niagara Falls. And of course, they were a major target for the Soviets. And often we would have air raid drills because, they had a nuclear warhead pointed straight toward Sir Adam Beck Power Station. And we used to go grab the gym mats and put them up against the doors and then line up on our arses in the hallway and put our head between our legs to kiss our arseholes goodbye. I'm wondering if it isn't time that we just, barricade the doors, put our head between our legs and kiss our rumps goodbye. What do you think? I invite your comment. Remember, I'm an ignorant man. I need somebody to explain these things to me, because I ain't that smart. And I had a bunch of my left-leaning PBS-watching, pottery-making, pro-abortion, gay rights activist friends tell me that I'm way offline. All of them, of course, or the majority of them, those people that said these things, old high school friends, their parents fled totalitarianism. And I find it interesting that every one of them favors the kind of governments that they left the totalitarian regime to get away from, and came to Canada, which was the nation that they were at war with just a few years before. As I said, I'm a stupid man. I don't understand. Somebody explain this to me. Paint it simple so that a man of my limited intellect can forestore, can understand. Hope you're washing your patties, because I know today of all days you're getting your brain washed. You stay well. Ha det fint. Ha det bra.